This presentation is on Stuart Hall. He was born February 3rd, 1939 in Kingston, Jamaica, and died February 10th, 2014 in London, United Kingdom. He was a Jamaican, British, Marxist socialist who attended Oxford University and earned his BA and MS there. He is married to Catherine Hall and has two kids, and he is again a Jamaican British socialist who followed a Marxist sociology. So these are some of his major works. In 1957 through 1960, he established the Universities in Left Review. He was a teacher at a couple of secondary schools in southern London where he taught literature and films. And that helped him write this review in 1964. He wrote The Popular Arts, his first major book. Because of this book, he was asked to join the University of Birmingham to establish the Center of Contemporary Cultural Studies. So all this happened. Once he wrote this book, he was asked to co-found in 1964 the Center of Contemporary Cultural Studies at the University of Birmingham. And in 1973, his theory of encoding and decoding, it was a model to explain how media messages are made and interpreted. Part of this theory, there are four different parts, one being production, where the construction of a message begins, two being circulation, how audiences receive a message and how it influences them, three, distribution and consumption, where a message has been adapted and realized by the viewer, four, reproduction, the encoder produces a new message according to the effects on the audiences. Hall argued that there are three positions when people decode a message. First, dominant and homogenic position, when the receiver accepts the code of the producer. Second, on a negotiated position, this notion is a mixture between accepting and rejecting a message. And third, oppositional position, where the receiver understands the message but rejects the code. After this, in 1990, he published one of his most cited articles, Cultural Identity and Diaspora. In 1997, he retired from teaching, became the chair of two foundations, INIVA, the Institute of International Visual Arts, and ABP. And this foundation seeks to promote photographers of a variety of ethnicities and backgrounds. And in 1997, he published his most cited book, Representation, Cultural Representations, and Signifying Practices. His work, Representation and Cultural Representations and Signifying Practices, has been cited over 8,000 times. In this book, he drew a connection between cultural and representation by stating culture is about shared meaning. People share meaning by language. In language, we use signs and symbols. Those symbols can be sounds, written words, images, musical notes, even objects. Finally, composition, the ideas and feelings. Another big part of this book is a section on stereotyping. So some of his key influencers was Karl Marx, because Hall was a Marxist. Hall worked with Patty Wanell, writing his book on the popular arts, and Hall was recruited by Richard Hogarth to form the Center of Contemporary Cultural Studies at the University of Birmingham, like stated before. Now, in the conclusion of the theory, encoding and decoding, there are four parts. One being production, when the construction of the message begins. 2, circulation, how the audience receive a message, how it influences them. 3, distribution and consumption, a message has been adapted and realized. And 4, reproduction, the encoder produces a new message according to the effects on the audiences. In conclusion, the audience is influenced by their own social context, and the message can be skewed through collective activation. Activation taken together by a group of people whose goal is to enhance their condition and achieve a common objective. Some critiques from other people. Um, Hall did not state anywhere in encoding and decoding model that there is a necessary correlation between viewers' social status, the codes available to him or her, and the meaning constituted. Another critique is Hall identified the process of communication in terms of circuit production, circulation, disruption slash consumption, and reproduction. Each of the moments exerts its determinacy upon the next, but there is no required correspondence between any two moments. The moments are comparatively independent to each other. This implies that, to a certain way, each moment is autonomous, exerts its own determinacy, but none can fully determine another. My own critiques are there is nothing wrong with people being entitled to their own interpretation. Hall makes this seem like a bad thing. And then, while I agree that the information can be skewed because of the people's self beliefs, people are also entitled to the interpretation. Because if people didn't have their own interpretations, then the information would just be a fact, which would be pointless or trying to persuade someone. If everyone believes the same thing, then you have nothing to persuade. That concludes the presentation on Stuart Hall. Thank you.